So I'm trying to make sure we are live. Let's
It
see.
says live.
It's like, oh, hi, we sure are. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Curvy Blueprint. I am your host, Coach Keish, and tonight my guest, Karen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for saying yes. So, how's the weather in New York?
New York is 29 degrees.
No,
Feels
man.
like 15.
Feels like 15.
Feels like 15.
Okay.
But it's clear and it was sunny today.
But it's still only 29 degrees.
Yes, it's only 29 degrees.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, today I believe it was like 78 degrees here
Very
in
nice.
sunny South Florida. So
Very nice.
I'm gonna send a little bit of heat your way.
You could just bottle it up and send it to me, and I can open it and I used to live there.
Yes, whenever you're ready. Hello, Tangela, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking. This is the start of a series of life, love, and lessons learned. And I couldn't think of a better person to start this conversation with than you, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen and I have known each other. How long now, Karen?
It's been I think we're going on a good almost 10 years, 8 to 10, I'd say.
Right, 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about just about every scenario that I could think of in relationships.
Very few stones have been unturned.
Exactly, very few. And Karen has been one of the people in my life whom I can be emotionally naked with. And I always ask that question, how many people can you be naked with? And we're not talking necessarily in the physical sense, which I think I might have done that too a couple times to Karen without her asking.
I think you slept over once.
I did. But as far as being emotionally naked is concerned, it is very difficult to find people in your life with whom you can actually do that. A lot of us feel guarded, when it comes to our rawest of emotions. And today we want to start the conversation in how to bring some of those walls down, the value of transparency, and how that helps us move into living our best life. So thank you all for joining us. And, if you have questions or comments, please and thank you. Go ahead and drop those comments. We're going to get to as many of your questions and comments as we can as we go through the broadcast. So, Karen, first question is, how long did it take you to put fear aside and start truly living your life?
Well, I'm kind of like I'm still mid-transformation, but I think somewhere in my 40s, even though, I thought I was being authentic and thought I was being honest and thought I was living, I realized that I really wasn't. So I guess in my mid-40s, it just became more and more important and more, how would I say that, of a challenge to do it and to kind of look back and see why I hadn't been and how it caused me to live and how it caused me to be because I was being dishonest with myself in some ways, and just decided to do it. And one of the big things, because it was kind of unexpected, but one of the main catalysts for my change and my, reinvention or reincarnation was when I decided to go to grad school. So I think I was 47, 48, and I was hanging around with a few people who weren't really that good for me. And when I started mentioning school, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're so old. You're going to go to school now?" And I realized that I didn't want to be around those people anymore. They were not good for me, and that this was something that I wanted to do. And I decided that I wanted to further my education in HR management and that I was going to go to grad school. So at the ripe old age of 47, I think, I enrolled at Nova. And in 2016, at 50 years old, I graduated with my MS.
Congratulations.
The student loans are killing me though, but anyway. But just, finding my niche in human resources, working in human resources, finding my niche and kind of like, wow, I'm really good at this, was a new feeling for me, because until then I was just working, and doing what I needed to do to live and to pay bills. But then it was like, I finally found something that I was good at. And that gave me a confidence to drop people. If you didn't understand that while I was in school and working full time, that I wasn't going to be able to hang out with you, or that I didn't have time for you, then you weren't good for me. So I was able to drop people out of my life, stay focused. And then even in grad school, I got to meet so many younger women who were new in HR and who were just trying things out. And it was like, I was like mentoring them, and they were coming to me for questions and answers. So I just kind of like really, the confidence just helped me propel myself in a way that I hadn't even imagined. And other things came along with that. Again, dropping people who didn't bring any value to my life. Standing my ground if somebody was working against me, and just kind of like, no, you know what? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah. And it just kind of spilled over everywhere in everything.
I think that, even for me, I spent the majority of my life, I'm 43 right now, and I've spent the majority of my life feeling like I was running to catch up. Like everybody somehow had figured something out 2 steps before I figured it out. And I always found myself like feeling like, oh my God, I'm never going to catch up. By the time
what's wrong with me?
Exactly. What's wrong with me?
When you're smart and you know stuff,
Exactly. Working under people who oftentimes weren't as smart as you are, and not able to even figure out the simplest of dilemmas. And it was just very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
But that fear of even being great. And I know a lot of people think like, what exactly would that even mean? But even being afraid of your own greatness, your own ability to just get out there and do it. Like, how are these women who've made their mark in the world in whatever light?
Whatever, yeah.
They managed to figure it out, while here I was still trying to decide if I liked the job I was working. And most times the answer was no, I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
I had mouths to feed and I had to work. So for me, it really took come to a point where I lost everything. My dad died in 2013, and my grandmother followed him 5 months later. And that time period in my life was the worst kind of wake-up call, because the people who you run to when
the comfort,
your comfort, your security, even the people who, okay, you spent your light bill money getting some new shoes, and now the lights are going to be cut off, and I call my daddy and say, well, they're going to cut the lights off, and I need you to help me figure this bill out. He was gone. He was just gone. He wasn't there anymore for me to lean on when I needed some support.
Yeah.
And that very lonely feeling woke me up to say, okay, what is it? What are you, Keisha, what are you going to do? Because what you have been doing, it just absolutely isn't working.
It's not working, and you can't keep doing it. And I mean, like I was saying, it's like I knew I was smart. I knew I had, skills and I had abilities, but I was just floundering and just couldn't get it together. So it's a good feeling though. And when you're kind of like, okay, you know what? I have no more choices. I really have to push myself in this direction, or I will never get anywhere.
Yes.
And as scary as it is, and then you just maybe it's an adrenaline rush. maybe it's desperation, maybe it's just, an intense self-awareness, but you're like, I can't go back there.
No.
I gotta go this way.
No,
And
Angela made a very good point. She said, timing is everything. It has to
yeah,
be your time. And I
yeah,
used to ask this question all the time. When is it ever my turn? When is it ever going to be me? Everybody else got their stuff. When is it going to be my turn? And Karen one day said to me, honey, did you ever stop to think it's always your turn? And
yeah.
it wasn't until that day, until you made that statement, until I heard it out loud,
Mm-hmm.
until I realized that how many of my opportunities did I give away? Like this can't be for me. This has to be for somebody else. Let me encourage someone else to take this opportunity. Let me encourage someone else or help them along the way of whatever their dream is, while putting my dream on the back burner.
Yep.
Like all those times when it was my turn, when I was up at bat, and then I surrendered the bat.
And we surrender out of fear,
Yes.
out of sometimes, and a lot of times as women, we give it up out of misplaced generosity.
Mm.
At women, as especially when you're a single mom, in your case, Keisha, you have, you're like the oldest, and misplaced generosity to me is kind of like, because you're like, oh my God, I can't be selfish. I can't do this. This is not for me. She needs more help than I do. But guess what? You're cheating yourself. Now, I don't have siblings, and I've been accused of being very self-absorbed a few times in my life. Okay, I'll claim it because it's true. But you still don't think misplaced generosity and harshness, or you don't think you deserve it, or you don't think it's your time. But the thing is, the time is not necessarily given to you. It's not like there's time slots and like, okay, here's Karen's time. But it's kind of like, is Karen paying attention? Or is Keisha paying attention? It's not, it's not a pre-designated slot. It's just kind of like um, taking that leap of faith. Just kind of like, you know what, I need to do this, and just going for it. So
that leads to my next question. What was once your greatest fear? And does that fear still live in you? And how do you overcome it?
at different points in my life, I've had different great fears. I was obsessed when Nicholas was a baby. I was obsessed with SIDS, with the sudden infant death syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And I would wake up constantly at night checking on him in his crib, because that was like when it got to be real popular. So and then when he was around from maybe like ages 5 to 8, and I think this is something that happens with single moms, I was so afraid that something would happen to me and I would die and he would forget me.
Okay.
Yeah. But then once he reached like 11 or 12, that fear passed, because I was like, you know what? We've had enough time together that if I did pass, he would be okay, because he would remember. But later on, my greatest fear was that I would stay, or I would never be more than mediocre. But later on, and because I knew I wasn't a mediocre person, but I felt like I was living a mediocre life. So that was like a big thing for me. Like, I don't want to be mediocre. I don't have to be a superstar. I don't have to be, extraordinary, but I have to be better than the way I was. So, again, overcoming it has been working on myself, working on some of my faults, working on, opening myself up to more opportunities, and just kind of like, hey, what's the harm in trying something? Like, I have a few things that I'm, looking to do now, and I'm like, I'm ready. I can do it. I want to take my test to be certified to have my my SHRM certification, the Society of Human Resources Management. And I'm taking the test in June, like $350. And okay, I'm gonna take the test. I'm gonna pass it on the first time. But if I don't, I'll take it again when they get it in June. I mean December, and I'll take it until I'm done, until I get it.
Okay.
So I moved back to New York because I was unhappy in Florida. And I moved basically with what could fit in my car. I sold pretty much everything I had in my apartment. And I came up to New York last year in February with $2,000 cash and $3,000 coming from my income tax refund. That's all the money I had.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it. But I knew I was coming to my mom's house, so that was a cushion. And when I started looking for work, one day on Facebook I posted a date, and I posted 5/1/17. Everybody was like, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" I said, "Oh, just a date," and it really truly was just a date. And it turned out to be the day I started my new job.
Oh wow! Okay.
But I didn't even know it then. So again, there's no pre-designated time slot. I think it's just about seizing your opportunity. Carpe diem, seize the day, seize it when you get there. It works, okay. It doesn't work, okay. You try again, or you try something else.
Right. For me, my greatest fear has always been like throwing my whole self at something and it not working out. And it doesn't matter what, you can apply that to anything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships, giving you my whole heart, my whole self, and somehow not be deemed worthy enough. Because I had relationships where even when I didn't give 110%, even if I was giving 75%, it just wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs, going and being the best and working just as hard as I possibly can and being overlooked for promotions or more money or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to write a book. That was one of my dreams. And I'm happy to report that I finished the book. I'm happy to report I finished.
Mm-hmm.
But I still haven't published it. Like, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
I have my copies of the book printed so I could see it and hold it in my hands and know that it's real. I won't say I haven't released it. I have not set a date. I haven't released the book because it's still like, the book right now is my baby. My baby is safe. It's in my arms. I love it. I love every word, every page, every chapter of it. The minute I released it into the world, now everybody gets to have an opinion of it. And what if the consensus is it sucks? So I will say that fear, it still lives in me. I move in my life better, freer now because I don't let it always get in the way. But it rears its ugly head every now and again when something matters so much to me, whether it's my brand or my children or relationships or whatever you could think of.
Well, I mean, the truth is, you can't come this far and not be afraid. You know what I mean? Because wisdom, age, experience, wisdom teaches us that it's not completely unhealthy to be afraid. And I remember reading one time that being, the sensation that being fearful of something is actually because you're thinking about it and it's important to you. Because people who, like, for instance, you want to talk about like people who do extreme sports, some of them you kind of have to wonder, like, is there any thought to what they're doing? But the thing is, it's like they decide not to, maybe they're not thinking, and that's why they're ready to jump off a bridge, or whatever. I don't know. But to fear something is to have put some thought into it and to know that there are risks and to know that it might not work out. But the fact is you shouldn't let fear paralyze you.
No.
from
And
trying.
I'm guilty. I have absolutely let fear get in the way. I think even when I went to college,
Yeah.
I loved my school. I thought it was amazing. I'm still I love Clark Atlanta University,
Mm-hmm.
but I basically didn't do much while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a couple classes and I was impressed with my professors, and I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing other brilliant faces that look similar to mine. And
Mm-hmm.
all of that got to be a bit much for me. In high school, I stood out, in so many ways
Mm-hmm.
amongst the people that I was in school with. Got to college, and there was so much competition for the number one slot.
You
So
were a
why,
little
yeah,
in a
and
big
why would I think I was number one at that point
right.
in time? So that little girl who set foot on the campus, she still lives in me, because right now I can tell you, it's like the lottery conversation. If I won the lottery, what would I do with the money? I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you 10,000 things I would do right now. But if I woke up tomorrow the winner, I'm sure I would have a panic attack, because now
Well,
the
yeah.
word I like to use is accountability. And now I'm accountable to all the things that I do once I have it in my hand. Once you graduate and you have your degree, you're accountable to do something with it. Once
Yeah.
you become a mom, you're accountable
To this
to
other
taking
human
care of
being.
this child. This other little life is dependent on you to do the right thing. Once you get the job of your dreams, you're being held accountable to perform in it. So in every way, that fear keeps finding its way in, no matter how no matter how you try to push. But I'm glad that you brought up a very good point in saying that in spite of that fear, we must continue to move forward. Because if you
And
think
take the
you're scared
chance.
today, you're going to be terrified tomorrow, because once you step into the place that was once so scary for you, now something even scarier than that
It
is
can
going
come along.
is going
Mhm.
to come along.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to love. We've been talking about life. Let's talk about love. I love love. So
And we have such different opinions about it.
we do. So tell me this. Have you and for our viewers, please feel free to share your thoughts and comments. We absolutely want you to be part of this conversation. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Curve-Unplugged. Yes, the Curve-Unplugged. We have so much in store for you guys with our new channel. I know that many of you have been following us since the Curve Radio Show. We love you. We appreciate you for following us. But trust me, the journey continues. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us. Stay tuned. Okay. So let's talk about love. Have you ever been heartbroken? Heartbroken, Karen. I got to hear this one. Have you ever been heartbroken?
Yes.
Now, tell us about it.
It was a very long time ago.
Okay.
Um,
Did it help shape how you saw relationships from that day to today?
I think so. Um, well, when the lesson, and with what came with my heartbreak, besides my son, who is the love of my life. So, he's my one. He's my only one. What came with my heartbreak was also because one of the things that when our relationship was ending, my relationship was ending with my son's dad, was I found out things that I didn't know. He was like, well, I never felt that way, and I don't know why you thought that. So one of my takeaways from the end of the relationship was that I didn't ask enough questions. So once I realized that,
No,
for
it's not yours.
for a
He said,
few other
love is
relations, the next few relationships, I
mm-hmm.
was like the Inquisition. Like, why? Why do you want to do this? Why do you do that? You know, because I didn't want to miss anything. I didn't want any surprises, and I didn't want to be caught, off guard. You know, so I figured if I asked any and every question that I possibly could, then I wouldn't be surprised by anything. But that's not true, because people still can hide things from you no matter what. But the one thing that surprises a lot of people, I've had a few successful relationships, what I consider successful in terms of there was longevity, there was happiness, there was love between us. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. But the one thing that people are always surprised about me is that I do believe in love. And I believe in that beautiful, sweet, romantic, and, happy, and tiptoeing through the tulips thing. I still believe in it. Whether I think it's gonna happen for me, I'm not sure because of so many different reasons. But I do believe in it. And but I'm also very practical about love as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'd love to fall in love with somebody and we decide that we don't want to be without each other and everything. But I don't believe that one person should be the end all be all for another person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't subscribe to monogamy, which is not a very popular opinion.
Mm.
And but I think that there can be love between more than one person. Me and another person and another person. So
here's my point. Wait, you got to pause because I got to ask. The question I have is, when you say you don't believe in monogamy,
I don't think monogamy works.
Simply referring in the sense of sex itself, or love, or the fact that you could have two or more people in your life that you love.
Yes.
Or just two or more people in your life that you have sex with.
Both.
Okay. And why do you think monogamy doesn't work? I'm glad you said this. Why do you think monogamy doesn't work?
Then if monogamy really worked, there wouldn't be so much cheating. People would be happy in the relationships that they find themselves in. But again, that's my opinion. I think that it's monogamy, and I think it's really a lot of pressure to be in a monogamous relationship.
Really?
Yes, I think it's a lot of pressure. Okay. There are a lot of expectations. There are a lot of wants and needs and desires. And, even though people have friends and, they think that their friends fit their, different categories and fill different niches, but they turn to their mate or their spouse for the core, for the most of it, and are disappointed when the mate can't deliver. So why not have, two people in your life who can, kind of just complement everything, and just one person can be this and the other person can be that, and then you have the perfect, you have the setup that works for you. So there's, but again, that's me. I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I was, do you believe that you can have a monogamous relationship? He's also non-monogamous. And he said, I think with the right person, I could be married again and, one-on-one, but I want to have the option.
So what Monique and her husband have been very open about sharing, you believe that, that's for you, that's the way to go.
I don't know the details of their relationship. Now, mind you, there are a lot of people who are swingers, and swingers are totally different. That's a totally different, that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
Because swinging is really, it's mostly about sex. It's mostly about indulging, their sexual appetites and variety and things like that. So swinging is very different than ethical, what's called ethical non-monogamy, as as opposed to non-ethical monogamy, which basically means cheating. So in ethical non-monogamy, all the parties are aware and know and are open and honest that you have different people in your life. And it's not easy, but it can be done. A lot of people do it.
That just sounds very complicated to me. Like, it sounds very complicated to have other people, and you got to remember what makes each of these people happy.
That's bullshit. It's not that complicated.
That seems complicated.
You do it for your friends.
Not intimately, though. When it comes down to sex, some people like it one way, some people like it another way. Now, you got to remember how to give it to this person and then how to give it to that person. And then what if by the time I make it back home to you, I'm tired? I done gave it out already.
Now, but guess what?
What?
Your mate or the person that's at home knew where you were, right? In an ethical non-monogamous relationship, your mate or your spouse who's at home knew that you were with your other love.
Okay.
So
I don't know that I'm there yet. I'm not that mature yet.
I mean, you know what? It's not for everybody. I'm just saying it's not. But I don't subscribe to. I just don't subscribe.
Okay. I've been in a situation where I was dealing with someone who had someone else. So I won't act like I've never been there, But at the same token, I think that there's a selfish part of me that doesn't want to know. Like, by the time this other party was headed home and they have a spouse to deal with at home, like, you could save me the details. Like, I don't want to know nothing. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear about it.
That's because it's non-ethical.
I don't know that
there's no ethics.
There's no issue of ethics. Is this really an issue of ethics?
Yes, there is. There are ethics in sexual relationships. Ethics are involved. Like the fact that
not wanting to know something makes you non-ethical because you don't want to know about it. Because you would rather, in my mind's eye,
you'd rather practice ignorance.
Yes, absolutely. In that sense, I would rather just not know. Like, I couldn't imagine being home and my significant other is out and I know she's out having sex with somebody else. I know that's not for me. That absolutely is not for me. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I think that when it comes down to people in relationships, whatever works for you and yours is absolutely fine. Like, there's no set of rules that I feel have to be followed, saying if this is the cookie cutter blueprint, and if you're not doing this, then your relationship is garbage. But as it pertains to me, like, that absolutely doesn't work. Okay. And I've had issues with how do I want to put this? Having a wandering eye, like seeing things and like going, But if I thought my significant other was doing the same thing, I'm very, very angry about it. And maybe detrimentally so. So I think this is a very mature approach to having a relationship.
I've never believed in monogamy. Growing up,
when you were in love with the person who broke your heart, you didn't believe in monogamy then?
Nope.
No?
No. And he cheated on me. Okay? He cheated on me, and I wasn't upset that he cheated because I understood the circumstances of him having sex with another woman. What I was upset about was how he talked about the girl. He tried to throw me because I think he had a feeling I was catching on to him with this other chick. So he started lying about it and talking bad about her. That's what I was really pissed off about. if he had not like talked bad about her or tried to throw me off the scent and lie, I would have been like, okay, so you had sex with somebody else. Hey, I wasn't around. I get it. But the fact that he expended all that energy, and I'm a big book. I'm that person. Like, I don't like to take too much energy, put too much energy into something. So the fact that he expended all this energy to create these elaborate lies, and then talk bad about her, like you slept with her and you're talking about her and saying she's ugly and she's this and she's that. Like, how low is that?
Well, he could have believed that. Like, that could have still been the truth as well. He could have thought she was ugly. I don't mean he was sleep with her.
But you don't sleep with somebody and talk about them and say they're ugly.
But why would you care about that? Why was that your responsibility to feel any way about whatever it was he said about her? I'm just curious.
Because when I found out because the reasons why he slept with her. Like, I mean, he was saying, like, he was trying to, he was trying to distract me from the fact that he slept with her and made me sure, but he didn't feel that way when he was sleeping with her.
Okay.
So I thought it was
I do believe that when it comes down to it, cheating is not necessarily the end all be all.
No,
to a relationship.
It's not.
I think that
it's the lies that come with it.
Yeah, that too, and all the other circumstances that led us to where we are. Because I think that a lot of times, as a woman, I feel I've even done it. If you cheated, it didn't matter how many problems we were already having. The cheating automatically became the thing because I get to be the victim if you cheated on me. So I'm the victim because you cheated. But all of the other things that happened along the way before we even got to her, whoever she is, before we got to her, all the things that happened prior to that can go unaddressed.
Right.
Because when the cheat happens, then the cheating becomes our focal point and we need somebody to blame.
Right.
And what I always say to people who bring this, this conversation up about cheating is just, how did you get there? Like, how it's one thing to say that there are so many people in the world who can't stand to see a piece of ass walk by. I think there are people like that, yes. But I think there's a fewer number of those people than the people who were already experiencing some other issue in their current relationship. And cheating was a symptom of that issue, not the other way around. I again, there are some people who can't stand to see it walk by. I get that. But a lot of times we ignore what was already happening in our relationship, what was already going wrong.
Right, all the issues that were there.
All the other issues. So that whoever got cheated on gets to be the martyr, gets to be the victim. Because had they not cheated on you, then y'all didn't have any problems. Then why did they cheat? If there was no issue going on in the relationship.
But hold on. For a lot of people, having sex with somebody else doesn't mean that they have a problem with their mate or their spouse.
Yeah, you'll probably love people.
No.
Love people don't have to have a problem. They just have to have a hard on.
That's not true. But I mean, this could be a whole other hour. So, a whole other hour conversation. Okay. But I just really, but all in all, back to your original question, I do believe in love. I'd love for it to happen. I'd love to be in a beautiful, loving, fulfilling relationship. And I still believe it can happen.
I firmly believe in love. I believe that it happens. And I wish it for everybody. Like, I wish everyone to fall head over heels, like crazy in love. And I think as I got older, along the way, I experienced some heartbreaks, but then there's always, I think, that one heartbreak that kind of maybe even changes the way you see love.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one of those. I had that heartbreak that it shook me to my core, because this was the first time that I'd ever given my whole self to something, to a relationship. Honesty, trust, loyalty, every kind of love I could give, I gave. And when it crashed and burned right in front of my eyes, it shaped the way I saw love going forward. Not even my divorce did that. Getting divorced for me it was the best thing for both of us. He
Mm-hmm.
deserved to be with a woman who could love him in all of his amazingness, the way he needed to be loved. And I needed time to get my shit together. The end.
Mm-hmm.
So my divorce, it hurt. Don't get me wrong. And for those of you who've been through a divorce, I think for me, it didn't seem real until we were standing in court, until I was thinking about all the vows and again, I'm not debating how unrealistic monogamy is, but when you pledge something to someone, when you make a promise to someone, and this is supposed to be that lifelong promise, like you make your child and say, as long as there's breath in my body, I'm going to always be here for you. You have no intent to break that promise to your kid. But when you marry someone, we're oftentimes so obsessed with getting married, we don't think about what it takes to stay married and how to be married. So I thought it was amazing to get married. That was really cool. But the tools and the understanding and the level of patience and growth and maturity that I needed to be married and to stay married, I was eons away from appreciating that concept.
Well, I always say that I married the man I married him for a couple of reasons. First, because he asked.
Well, there's a good reason.
That's a good reason. The second reason was to prove to my son's dad that even though he didn't want to marry me, somebody else did.
Mm-hmm.
And and my ex-husband loved me to the extent that he was able to love, because he was a very broken person too. But I was like, okay, you know what? Just for these, I can do this. I can make this work. I can make this work. And I really tried to make it work, but I didn't have anything to go on. And one of the things that I've always said to people, anybody who talks to me, I said, if you marry with an agenda, it won't work. If you see marriage as a way to a means to an end, it won't work. And if there's no love there, it won't work, because love is what makes you fight. Having the love is what makes you fight for your marriage, work at your marriage, take the bullshit, take the good, take the bad. Love is what makes you do that. When I was in Florida, I went to visit. I went to visit someone. One of my very dear cousins passed away a few months ago, so I went to visit his widow. And they had been married for 27 years. And he died suddenly just before the hurricane. What was the hurricane that you guys had? Irma?
Harvey, right? What's his name? His name Harvey?
The one that hit y'all hard.
Somebody. No, yeah, Irma. She was mad. Yeah.
Irma. Yes, Irma. He died like just before Irma came. And it was so touching to hear her talk about her husband. She was like, he was my best friend. She's like, his presence is all around the house. She's like, I still smell him, around the house. And I mean, and my cousin who passed away, my cousin adored his wife. And I always said, the good girl made the thug become a man, which he did. So, and they were an example, and I've had other examples, and that's why I say, love is what makes the shit work, and love is what makes you fight for it. So, and without love, it just doesn't work. So, I do believe in it.
I believe in it. I think there's a besides love, I think there is a level of accountability that we must hold ourselves to in relationships.
And if we
But
engage, if we
love
decide
without
to engage
love
in a
is an
relationship,
action word. It's an
yeah,
action word, and love makes you makes you want to be accountable.
right.
You know, in every way. I was the queen of a grudge. Like I could not speak to your ass. I don't care if we sleep in the same bed, live in the same house, ride in the same car, take a bath in the same tub at the same time. If I was mad in my 20s, there was no way I was talking to you. In order for us to speak, you were going to have to be the one to initiate that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now at 43, I don't even see the value in that. Like I don't see the value in not talking to you.
Tremendous waste of energy.
It's a tremendous, it is a burdensome experience to walk around mad. Like
Yep.
that takes more effort and energy. You can, if you go to bed mad, you're gonna wake up tired. I promise to God. If you go to bed mad, you will wake up tired.
You will wake up tired and like you never slept.
Yes. And that is crazy that so many of us, especially women, we take all that burden with us to bed. Let it go. I promise you, you're better for it.
You're better
Just
for
let
it.
it go. You know, take that energy and just turn it into something completely different, because it takes too much out of you to just stay mad.
Well, I mean, you know, one of the biggest tenets of a relationship in marriage, and I remember like I heard my grandmother say, my mom, everybody, was that never go to bed angry with your mate. If it means staying up until you resolve it, do that. But don't go to bed angry, because you wake up with the same fight.
Not only that, I think that for me, one of my greatest challenges has been learning how to process things before I react to them. Quick draw McGraw. If you come for me, watch out. No holds barred. I don't care who I got to talk about in your family, what I got to do to make you bleed. Like eat from the inside, I got to make you bleed. I used to be quick. Like I had to win. That was so important to me, to not appear weak in love. Like I had to, always be strong. And learning, but the stronger person learns how to process that energy, that emotion, before they open their mouths. Because again, when we talk about being in love and being accountable, then you want to also be accountable to the words that you let leave your mouth and the actions you
that
take.
You can never take back.
That you can never take back. Most people in prison for murder are there because of crimes of passion. So it was something that happened, and at that moment, they could not process all of that emotion, and it led to death. Yeah. Somebody died and somebody cried. So two bad things happened, So for me, learning how to process what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling before I even say anything. And to be honest, Karen, that has led to me having to go to bed without completely resolving something, because I needed to process it before I could even explain to the other party why I'm so upset, why the thing is bothering me so much, why I can't continue with you with this. Because if I did not, and I just went,
the result would
be a bigger mess.
Right. I get that. I mean, it's an ideal, but it's not something that can always be accomplished. But like I said, I just, anger is just so draining. And it's something that I really, really choose not to. I don't deal with that at all. Like, I really don't. And I've never been quick to speak, because I always felt that God gave us free will and reason. So we should try to use it as much as possible. And so go, stop, take a deep breath, walk away, work it through. That nothing should ever be said to anyone in anger, because you can't take it back. Because I know that things that people have said to me in anger, I can, I can name every single one of them, even if it was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't take it back.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, because we're running out of time, I want us to touch on lessons learned. What would you say to your 21-year-old self? Like if you could talk to her today, what would you tell her?
My 21-year-old self?
Yes.
That was 30 years ago. Oh
yeah,
my
what
God.
would you tell her? You have 30 years worth of life, work, and love experience. So now she's sitting across from you. What do you say to her?
Stop fucking around and finish school.
Okay.
Because I took way too long to finish college because I was here, there, working and buying clothes and doing whatever I wanted to do. So stop fucking around and hurry up and finish college. Go to law school.
Mm-hmm.
Learn everything you need to know about finances and have good credit. Keep your good credit. I would tell her that too. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I would tell her, you got this. Be fearless. Just go for it. You trip, you fall, get up and try it. And love will come to you when it's time.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
To my 21-year-old self, I would say fail forward. Like, do it. Fuck it up now and learn. Learn from it. Learn something from it. Don't wallow in it. Get up, dust yourself off, and get back to living your life.
Yeah.
Because you won't be 21 again.
Never.
Your vision is going to get blurry. I'm struggling with this now because I have been fighting the eyeglasses battle for quite some time. And I have come to the conclusion that I have lost. So next week, I'm going to have an eye appointment to get glasses. So again, the looks change. Your vision is going to get blurry. You probably won't hear half the stuff that's being said.
Oh, and I would say don't gain weight if you don't have.
Don't gain weight.
Like watch your weight because you'll never be able to take it off as easily as you could have at 21.
And I would absolutely tell her that it's okay to not have all the answers right now. Really, Lakeisha, about time, really? I'm going to get the freaking glasses. I would absolutely tell her that the stuff that you're stressing about, baby doll, you won't even care about this shit in 20 years.
In none 5, of 10, 15, 20.
You won't even give a whole rat's ass about that.
Yeah.
So I would want her to move fearlessly through her life. And I know that's much easier said than done. But for every mistake you make, count it a lesson learned, recover quickly, and get back in the game.
Yep.
Nobody knows any more than you know. We're all trying to figure this shit out.
We're all just feeling our way through this shit. I think we're kind of like on a similar level. Just go, just do it. It'll be okay.
Yeah. And I want, my niece is in college and she's in her 20s and she got that little tiny body and she's showing her belly button and it's driving me crazy. But, I love when I see young people today that are fearless, like taking trips overseas and learning new languages and having these amazing priceless experiences and creating a lane all of their own, not waiting for somebody to give them a job, but creating a job, creating a brand, doing it. And I also love my ladies who are in my age range who realize that it's not over till it's over. you know, be it you're trying to create something new that no one else is doing, or they're not doing it the way you would have done it. Just get out there and again, just do it.
Try.
Will Smith did a video recently, and that was the theme of the video, to
Mm-hmm.
fail forward. And I just took that thing to heart, because we never know what we become if we never try. Like, you never know what comes of it. When we started the Curve radio show, we were afraid that nobody would tune in. And then 4 years later, we reached 436,000 some odd listeners
Mm-hmm.
in a 4-year window. So that means a whole lot of folks.
That's a whole lot of folks.
You know, but to never ever get out of your own way and truly try, then you're guaranteed that you're going to fail.
I mean, I look at this, I call this stage of my life the next chapter. You know, some people is like, oh my God, you moved back to New York from Florida? It's so cool. I'm like, hey, it was what I wanted to do for me. And as I told somebody not too long ago, I might still move someplace else. It's not too late for me to start and go someplace else. I mean, I have my eyes set on, you know, one of the goals that I have that I'm looking forward to is I'm trying to work on is I'd like to teach. And, you know, with my master's, I can teach at the undergrad level or at community level or like some of the online schools. So that's something that I'd like to do there, you know. I still have so many places I want to go visit. So this, like I said, this is the next chapter for me. And I believe that there are quite a few more chapters to be written.
I think when we continue to grow, then we continue. When you stop growing, you stop living.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, anything that stops growing dies.
Golda Meir, Prime Minister of Israel, said, when we cease to dream, we die. So I still have dreams. So yes. And I'd like to be around for a long, long time.
A long, long time. Well, Karen, I do want to thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show.
It was
Guys, you can follow Karen on Instagram at Belle_Karina. That's BELLE_KARENA.
A little pretentious, but I thought it was cute. It was hard to find something with my name.
Absolutely perfect for you. And guys, for those of you who this may be your first time tuning in or you've been following us, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the Curve-Unplugged. We will add the link to the bottom of this video as well. And if you missed the beginning of the video, we will be uploading this video to our YouTube channel shortly. We are excited about this new journey. You can follow me on Instagram at The Curvy Alchemist. And if you have not already done so, also follow the Curve Media Group on Instagram as well. Now, this concludes part 1 of this amazing conversation about love, life, and lessons learned. Karen is going to have to come back because I have people inboxing me about this whole poly love thing. And I don't know nothing about that at all. But since she seems to know a lot about it, and I have a few other choice friends who seem to know a little bit about a lot, we're going to create a segment on this.
We'll do a panel.
A whole panel to talk about exactly this. So keep your comments coming, and anything that you want to talk about, we want to talk about it with you. So send us your show ideas to info@The Curve Nation, or feel free to inbox us on Facebook at The Curve. Thank you again, guys, and good night. Stay curvy.
Thank you.
Good night.